There is a sugar quietly working inside your body right now. And it does not taste sweet, it does not come in a candy bar, and most doctors never warn you about it. After the age of 60, this one hidden sugar can silently slow your metabolism, sap your energy, and make every healthy effort you try feel like it is simply not working. Most people over 60 believe that if they are not eating dessert, not drinking soda, and not adding sugar to their coffee, they are safe from sugar damage. And that belief, as kind and as reasonable as it sounds, may be the very thing quietly holding your health back. Because the sugar we are going to talk about today is not sitting on a shelf in your kitchen. It is not listed clearly on a nutrition label, and cutting it out does not mean giving up anything you love. But if you do not know it exists, and millions of people over 60 do not, your body keeps paying the price every single day. So stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you are going to understand something that most people your age, and honestly, many younger people too, have never been told. And that understanding is going to change the way you see your energy, your weight, and your health going forward. Let me paint a picture, and I want you to be honest with yourself as I do. You wake up in the morning feeling more tired than you think you should. You have been watching what you eat. Maybe you cut back on bread. Maybe you gave up the afternoon cookie. You walk when you can. You drink your water. You are doing everything that sounds right. But the scale barely moves. Your energy dips in the afternoon like clockwork. And that mental clarity you used to have, that sharp, focused feeling, feels like it comes and goes without warning. And somewhere deep down, a quiet frustration builds. You think, I am doing everything right. Why does my body feel like it is working against me? If any part of that sounds familiar, even a little, I want you to know something important. You are not failing your body. There is something specific happening inside your metabolism that no one has properly explained to you. And today, that changes. I am Dr. Livia Carter. Let's build a stronger health family here. Take a moment and tell me in the comments your age, your country, and the biggest health problem you're facing right now. I read every comment because your voice helps shape the videos I create for this community. Today, I want to walk with you through that piece in a way that is calm, clear, and genuinely useful. No panic, no complicated medical language, no overwhelming lists of things you need to do differently by tomorrow morning. Just honest, thoughtful information, the kind you deserve to have. And before we go any further, I want to ask you something personal. Please tell me in the comments below. Where are you watching from? How old are you? And what health challenge are you dealing with right now? Whether it is fatigue, weight, blood sugar, sleep, or something else entirely. I read every comment. Your words genuinely guide the topics I bring to you. So please, take a moment and share. You may be surprised how many people are sitting in the very same place as you. Today, we are going to talk about something called fructose. Specifically, the kind that hides inside foods that most people think of as perfectly healthy. Foods that are marketed to people our age as smart choices. Foods that say things like natural, low-fat, heart-healthy, or no added sugar right on the front of the package. We are going to look at what this hidden fructose actually does inside your body once you eat it, step by step, in plain everyday language. We are going to explore why this effect becomes significantly stronger and more impactful after the age of 60. And most importantly, we are going to talk about what you can do, gently and practically, to give your metabolism the support it needs to work the way you want it to. No extreme diets, no expensive supplements, no changes that require you to overhaul your entire life. Just smart, clear understanding. Because when you truly understand what is happening, making the right choices starts to feel natural rather than forced. By the time this video ends, you are going to know exactly what this hidden sugar is, where it hides, and why your body handles it differently now than it did 20 years ago. You are going to be able to walk into any grocery store and recognize it, even when it does not use the word sugar anywhere on the label. You will understand the 3 specific things it does to your metabolism that explain the tiredness, the stubborn weight, and that heavy, foggy feeling that too many people your age have simply accepted as normal aging. And you will leave with a clear, manageable, and genuinely encouraging direction forward. This is not about fear. This is about being informed, because informed people make choices that feel empowering, not punishing. Let us begin. Let us start with the basics, and I promise to keep this completely simple. The sugar we are talking about today is called fructose. Now, if you have heard that word before, you might immediately think of fruit. And yes, fruit does contain natural fructose. But the fructose we are focused on today is a very different thing. It is a concentrated, highly processed form of fructose that is added into thousands of packaged foods specifically because it is cheap. It extends shelf life, and here is the part the food industry figured out long ago. It activates a part of your brain that keeps you wanting more. You will often see it listed on ingredient labels as high fructose corn syrup, but it also hides under names that sound far more innocent. It goes by corn syrup solids, crystalline fructose, agave nectar. Yes, that one surprises many people. Fruit juice concentrate, and even some versions of natural sweetener. And here is where the real surprise comes in. This hidden fructose is not just in obvious sweet treats. It is in your salad dressing. It is in your whole wheat bread, the kind that has the word healthy written across the bag in cheerful letters. It is in your store-bought tomato sauce, your flavored yogurt, including the low-fat kind, your granola bars, your bottled smoothies, your breakfast cereals, your ketchup, your canned soups, and even in certain crackers and deli meats that you would never in a million years describe as sweet. Think about that for a moment. You might skip the dessert at dinner and feel genuinely proud of that choice. But if your salad dressing, your whole grain roll, and your cup of flavored yogurt all contain hidden fructose, you have had a meaningful dose of this sugar before you even finished your meal. And you never tasted it the way you taste a cookie or a piece of cake. That invisibility is exactly what makes it so significant. You cannot avoid what you cannot see. Before we go further, I want to pause and offer you something important. If you are sitting here thinking, well, I have been eating these foods for years, does that mean I have done permanent damage? I want to answer that clearly and honestly. No. The human body, even at 65, even at 72, even at 80, has a remarkable capacity to respond, adapt, and improve when given the right support. The liver, which is the organ most affected by this particular sugar, is one of the most resilient organs in the entire body. It can begin recovering its function within weeks, sometimes even days, when the burden on it is reduced. So nothing we discuss today is meant to make you feel like the clock has run out. Quite the opposite. Every day is a new opportunity for your biology to shift in a better direction. And understanding this sugar is one of the clearest, most powerful steps you can take toward feeling the difference. Now let us follow this sugar on its journey, because this is the part that most people have never been told, and it explains so much. When you eat regular table sugar or starchy food, bread, rice, a potato, your body converts it into glucose. And glucose is handled by almost every cell in your body. Your muscles can use it, your brain uses it, and your pancreas releases insulin, which acts like a key that opens the door to your cells so the glucose can go in and be used as energy. It is not a perfect system, but it is a wide distributed system. The workload is spread across your whole body. Fructose is completely different. When fructose enters your body, only one organ can process it, your liver. The liver becomes the sole destination, the only port of entry. And when a large amount of fructose arrives, especially in liquid form or in the kind of concentrated doses found in packaged foods, the liver gets overwhelmed very quickly. Here is a simple way to picture it. Imagine a small post office in a quiet town. For years, it handles a manageable amount of mail each day. The staff is organized, packages go where they need to go, everything runs smoothly. Then one day, 100 trucks show up at the same time. The post office cannot process it all. Packages start piling up in the back. Some get sorted incorrectly. The whole operation gets jammed. That is almost precisely what happens in your liver when excess fructose floods in. To deal with the overflow, your liver does something that is meant to be a short-term emergency solution. It converts the excess fructose into fat, specifically a type of fat called triglycerides. Some of this fat gets stored directly in the liver itself, and when that happens consistently over time, it leads to a condition that doctors now describe very commonly in people over 60, called non-alcoholic fatty liver. The other portion of those triglycerides gets sent out into the bloodstream, which raises the fat levels in your blood and contributes to problems in your arteries and your heart. And there is a third thing this process does that most people never connect to sugar at all. It sends a signal throughout your body that dramatically slows your metabolism. Let us talk about exactly how that happens. Your metabolism, the system that converts what you eat into usable energy, is controlled largely by two hormones, insulin and a hormone called leptin. You may have heard of insulin before, but leptin is the one that rarely gets mentioned, and it is absolutely central to understanding why so many people over 60 feel like their metabolism has simply stopped cooperating. Leptin is your body's energy manager. It is produced by your fat cells, and its job is to travel to your brain and send a message that says, "We have enough energy stored. Keep the metabolism running at a good pace. You do not need to eat more right now." When leptin is working properly, your hunger is controlled, your energy is steady, and your body burns fuel at a healthy rate. Now, here is where hidden fructose causes one of its most damaging effects. Consistent exposure to excess fructose, particularly the concentrated kind in processed foods, creates a condition called leptin resistance. Your fat cells are still producing leptin. The signal is still being sent, but your brain stops receiving it clearly. It is like calling someone on the phone, and the call keeps dropping. The message never gets through properly. When your brain cannot hear the leptin signal, it does not know you have enough energy. So it does two things that are completely logical from its perspective, but deeply frustrating from yours. First, it tells your body to slow down the metabolic rate, to burn less energy, because it thinks you might be running low. And second, it increases hunger signals, because it thinks you need to eat more to get back to a healthy energy level. So you feel more tired, you feel hungrier, even after a reasonable meal. And because your body is burning fewer calories, even eating the same amount as before starts to result in weight gain, especially around the midsection. And then, and this is the part that makes so many people feel defeated, you eat less, you exercise more, and yet the scale barely responds, because the issue is not willpower or effort. The issue is a hormonal communication problem driven by a specific kind of sugar that nobody pointed out to you. This is something I feel very strongly about educating people on, because it is simply not discussed enough. The effects of hidden fructose on the liver and on leptin resistance are not equal across different ages. They are significantly stronger and faster after the age of 60. Here is why. As we age, the liver's processing efficiency naturally begins to decline. Think of it like the engine of a well-maintained car that has been running for many decades. It still works beautifully, but it cannot handle the same kind of overload it once could without showing strain more quickly. At the same time, the number of insulin receptors on your cells decreases naturally with age. This means your body has to produce more insulin to do the same job it used to do with less. That higher insulin environment, combined with leptin resistance caused by hidden fructose, creates a metabolic situation that researchers now describe as a kind of perfect storm for weight gain, fatigue, and blood sugar instability in older adults. There is also the matter of gut health. As we age, the diversity of our gut bacteria naturally decreases, and the gut plays a direct role in how fructose is processed. A younger gut with rich bacterial diversity can partially buffer the impact of excess fructose. An older gut, particularly one that has been exposed to years of processed food, handles it far less effectively, allowing more of the metabolic damage to occur. And finally, muscle mass. After 60, most people have naturally lost some muscle tissue compared to their younger years. Muscle is one of the primary tissues that helps manage blood sugar and energy. Less muscle means less of a buffer when the metabolic system comes under stress. So the combination of a liver working harder with less efficiency, declining insulin receptors, reduced gut resilience, and lower muscle mass means that the hidden fructose in your salad dressing and your breakfast cereal hits your metabolism in a way that is genuinely different and genuinely more significant than it would have 20 years ago. This is not a failure of your body. This is biology, and biology can be worked with. I want to pause here and ask you something directly. Think about the last 3 to 4 days. Not a special occasion or a holiday meal, just your regular, everyday eating. Did you have any packaged bread, any flavored yogurt, any bottled salad dressing, ketchup, or store-bought sauce? Any granola bars, juice, or canned soup? If you answered yes to even 2 or 3 of those, and most people over 60 do, you are very likely getting a meaningful daily dose of hidden fructose without any awareness that it is there. Now here is what I want you to do. Please go to the comment section right now or when the video ends and tell me, which of those foods surprised you most? Which ones did you genuinely not think of as a sugar source? I ask because your answers help me understand where the real knowledge gaps are. And when I know what surprises people most, I can create content that is more directly useful to you. So please, share your thoughts. I truly do read them, and your comment might be the exact thing that helps another person your age have the same realization you are having right now. Let us now get very practical for a moment, because sometimes the most useful thing is to recognize the signs in your own daily life. There are 3 patterns that I see consistently in patients over 60 when hidden fructose has been quietly working against their metabolism for an extended period. The first is what I call the afternoon energy cliff. You feel reasonably alert in the morning, you get through your work or your activities, and then somewhere between 1 and 3 in the afternoon, it feels like someone turned a dimmer switch on your energy. You get tired, sometimes foggy, sometimes a little irritable, and the desire to sit down or nap becomes very strong. This is not simply getting older. It is a signal from a liver and a hormonal system that is managing more metabolic stress than it should be. The second pattern is abdominal weight that seems to resist every effort you make. Not weight all over, but specifically around the middle. This is because the liver, when it converts excess fructose into fat and that fat gets stored nearby, tends to deposit it in the abdominal area. This type of fat, which doctors call visceral fat, is also the most metabolically active kind, meaning it continues to send out inflammatory signals that further disrupt your hormones and your energy systems. The third pattern, and this one catches people off guard, is a persistent sweet craving, even after you have already eaten something sweet. Because leptin resistance means your brain cannot hear the "we have enough" signal clearly. It continues sending hunger and craving messages, even when your body does not actually need more fuel. So you eat, you feel full for a short while, but the craving comes back faster than it should. And people often blame themselves for a lack of willpower, when in reality, it is a hormonal feedback loop that has been quietly thrown off balance. If you recognize 1, 2, or all 3 of these patterns in yourself, please hear this. You now have a specific and actionable reason behind what you have been experiencing. And that reason points toward a very clear direction. Here is what the research consistently shows, and here is what I have seen personally in patients who have made even modest shifts in this area. When you begin reducing your exposure to hidden fructose, not overnight, not perfectly, but gradually and thoughtfully, several things begin to happen in the body within a matter of weeks. The liver begins to clear the excess triglycerides. Its processing efficiency improves. The inflammatory signals that were disrupting your hormones begin to quiet down. Leptin sensitivity starts to recover. Your brain begins receiving the "we have enough energy" signal more clearly. And when that happens, cravings start to feel more manageable. Not because you are fighting harder, but because the biology behind the craving has shifted. Energy, particularly that afternoon energy cliff many people experience, often begins to stabilize in ways that feel noticeably different. And weight? while it is not the overnight dramatic change that some advertisements promise, begins to move in a sustainable direction because your metabolism is now able to function the way it is designed to function. The 3 most practical steps, explained simply. The first is becoming a label reader, specifically looking for the names we discussed. High fructose corn syrup, crystalline fructose, agave, and fruit juice concentrate. When you spot those in the ingredients of a product that does not seem obviously sweet, that is your cue. You do not have to throw everything out at once. Start with the products you use most frequently: your salad dressing, your bread, your yogurt. Find versions without those ingredients. Many exist, and they taste just as good. The second is favoring whole food forms of sweetness over processed ones. A whole piece of fruit contains fructose, yes, but it also contains fiber, water, and a range of nutrients that work together to slow the absorption of that fructose dramatically. The fructose in a whole orange arrives in your liver at a gentle, manageable pace. The fructose in a glass of orange juice or in a fruit juice concentrate listed in your breakfast bar arrives in a concentrated rush. The difference in how your liver handles those two is enormous. The third is adding protein and healthy fat to the first meal of your day. This is one of the most consistently effective tools I have seen for stabilizing the hormonal patterns that hidden fructose disrupts. When your first meal of the day is built around protein, eggs, plain Greek yogurt, a handful of nuts, rather than carbohydrates and sweetened foods, it sets a hormonal tone for the entire day that supports stable energy, controlled hunger, and a more active metabolic rate. It does not require a dramatic overhaul. It just requires a small shift in what goes on your plate first thing in the morning. None of this is extreme. None of this is about suffering or deprivation. It is about making more informed, intentional choices with the knowledge you now have, and watching your body respond in kind. Before we close out today, I have one more question for you, and I genuinely want to hear your answer. Of everything we talked about today, the hidden names on labels, the afternoon energy cliff, the leptin resistance, the liver connection, which part was the most surprising to you? Or maybe you already knew some of this, and there is something specific you have been struggling with that today helped clarify. Either way, I want to know. Drop your comment below. Tell me where you are watching from, how old you are, and what landed most for you today. Your community is watching these videos alongside you. And sometimes, a single comment from someone who has been in the same place becomes the most meaningful thing another person reads that day. This channel is built on that kind of honest, real conversation. So please, be part of it. One more thing before we finish, and I want to say this in the spirit of genuine care, not caution for its own sake. Everything I have shared today is for educational purposes, to give you a clearer picture of how your body works and what may be influencing how you feel. It is not a substitute for your personal physician's guidance, and I would never want it to be. Your doctor knows your full history, your current health conditions, and your medications, and that context matters deeply. If anything in today's video resonates with something you have been experiencing, I encourage you to bring it to your next appointment as a conversation starter. You deserve a doctor who listens and takes your questions seriously. And if they do not, that is valuable information too. Take care of yourself, and that includes asking the questions you deserve to have answered. Now, here is something I want you to think about between now and the next time we meet. Everything we talked about today, the fructose, the liver, the leptin resistance, is part of a much larger conversation about what happens to your metabolism after 60. And there is one specific organ we did not get to today that plays an even more central, invisible role in how your metabolism handles energy, inflammation, and weight. Most people have never heard a doctor explain what this organ does in plain language. And when they do, the same way you felt something click into place today, it completely reframes why they feel the way they feel. Next time, that is exactly where we are going. Make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss it. Because once you understand this piece, it connects to everything else we have discussed today in a way that makes the whole picture genuinely clear. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Genuinely. Thank you. You chose to invest in understanding your own health rather than simply accepting how things feel right now. That is not a small thing. That is exactly the kind of quiet, thoughtful act of self-respect that leads to real change over time. You are not too old to feel better. You are not too far along to make a meaningful difference. And you are certainly not alone in navigating this. I will see you in the next one. Take good care of yourself and of the people you love.